I start a disclaimer for my talk. I signed up for the talk with full intention of collecting, just getting all of the data I needed in like 1 year, and it was all going to be really nice, and I was going to show you some all nice graphs and things happening, but because the weather is, well, it's not been bad weather this year, it's just last year was such a weird year that some of the behaviours that the ants were showing, like they're just not doing it this year, so I've had some issues there. But I'll start from the beginning. The talk is all about form of a roofer. I'm Jake, Anty Matters on YouTube. But last year is the hottest spring on record, I think, for England at least, and it might have also been the sunniest. But it's a really nice day in mid-March, and I thought, I'm going to go walk the dog up the woods, and I know there's form of a roofer mounds there. Then on my phone, which I don't have, there's an infrared camera like built into it, so you can see like heat vision basically. You've got pit viper vision of like the whole world, and I like to just wander around with it. And the day I went out, it was like overcast day. It's overcast for the last few days as well, and it was actually quite a cold day for last year's spring. But it's going out, it's probably about 13, 14 Celsius out and about, which is a really nice temperature if you've got your infrared camera, because form of a roofer mounds, like, even on a bad day, they'll happily sit at about 25 Celsius. They stand out like a sore thumb compared to like the background kind of heat, if you get what I mean. So in my phone, like walking the dog, and then I'll spot them. And I was just walking this lovely March day, well it wasn't lovely, it was actually quite cold I thought. And there's a little bar on the side of the thermal thing which kind of shows you the scale, so like it has colours and it will tell you what colour means what. And suddenly, the little number in the top which shows you the top temperature on the screen, it just skyrocketed up to 59 Celsius. And where I was looking, it's slightly woodland, it's basically a thin band of woodland, and one side is meadows and one side is common land. And my initial thought was, oh my god, something's on fire and the common like ground is just gonna any second or something. Because I thought like, it can't be a living thing being 59 Celsius. But I found where the heat was coming from, and I go over there and I look, and there's a formica roofer mound, and it's just crawling. And at first, my initial thought, like you normally, if you saw loads of formicas out in spring, like all over the top of the mound, it'd be like, oh look, there's sunbathing. But the thing is, it was not a sunny day. And I looked a bit deeper, thinking like, wow, you're really hot. And it was like, it doesn't make any sense. Like you can't even be alive at like 59 Celsius. Like you should be on your back with your little legs curled. Like, so I'm there looking, and then I realised like, oh, is that some like queens out? And it was that's like normal for sunbathing. Sometimes like some of the queens might have a little sneaky sunbathe, like in spring. And it was like, and I noticed all the brood was out as well. So I kind of like the questions had started rolling, and you all know ants are great at making questions. I mean, like if you sit any human, it doesn't matter what age, in front of some ants, like within a few minutes you'll get like, what is it? What's that one? It's just the way ants are, but it ignited the question. So I'm there like with my camera trying to figure it out, and it turned out like these ants, I don't think they were sunbathing because it wasn't sunny to start with, and it was a cold day, about 13, 14 Celsius, and they were sitting at 60. And I went kind of digging a little bit in the nest, and the heat was actually coming from like lower down in the nest, and they all evacuated this whole little mound. And at the time I was like, oh, this is cool, but it didn't really have any practical uses until I came to AntCon and was hoping that because we've got all of the Swansea University people, that maybe one of them would have like the nice answer, and it'd be like, there's that like question has been answered, I can put it to sleep. And I go round, I didn't get any nice clean cut answer, so I started basically stalking ant mounds. But I got up the woods, I buried loads of Bluetooth sensors in them to try and capture it again, because during the talk last year they were talking about how sometimes, or at some point, they wanted to relocate like formica roofer mounds to other places, and the current approach I think is to basically just dig it up. And I guess it works, but in my head it seems a bit primitive, you get what I mean? Like, we could do better. And I believe with ants, you can make them basically do anything if you ask them correctly, if you get what I mean by like adjusting the physical surroundings and stuff and all of the conditions. If you ask them right, you can get them to do most things. So I thought, oh, you know what, this could actually be useful for moving Formica roofer mounds, like without having to dig up a whole colony in, like, this sounds risky to me, if you get what I mean, like, you can squash half of them as you're digging. So I thought, oh, maybe I could find out something useful so they can turn up and just figure out how to cook the Formica roofer out of the nest. So I went out, been collecting data. Unfortunately, because it's been not as hot as last year, well, I'm not really sure the heat matters, but I think it might just be all of the conditions together with last year. But I haven't managed to catch any, I caught one composting event where the mound had only got to 30, and you can tell because the inside of the nest will be roasting compared to the outside, and you can tell on the thermometers and stuff. But unfortunately, I didn't catch any, like, actual repeats yet, so I'm a bit lacking in that area, but but yeah, mostly I was going to show you, like, while we're here, like, has anyone got any questions that they would like little answers to? Because we have a whole room full of ant people, and there's not much better opportunity, like, someone might know your question. And yeah, I just have no luck. But maybe next year I'll have a better talk. This is what happens when you sign up for a talk and you've already counted your chickens and it's still eggs. But yeah, while we have the opportunity, I think it's a great chance if anyone has any unanswered questions or curiosities about ants. Like, someone in this room might have the answer that you need. So ask away if you've got any random.
Do you think they came up because it was too hot? Obviously, it was too
hot.
hot.
I think so, yeah.
They were cooking.
Yeah, they were cooling down. I remember seeing the ants and they were coming out at 60, and you can see the cold ones going in, because normally when they're sunbathing, you see the hot ones going in as they're taking the energy down deeper into the nest, and the cold ones come out to reheat themselves, but it was opposite as well, which is why they were basically baking. It was a bit weird too, because they weren't near common land, and you'd expect if it gets really hot, surely they should go deeper because it means the roof's on fire or something, but no, but
and it was not inside the wooded area.
Yeah, it is.
Where was it tarmac or something?
Or just their actual mounds, but in the woods.
Was it in woods? The park
yeah,
was woodland?
No, it's all just woodland area. But
and did they move, or are they still there?
Still there,
So
I went back to the same mound, and they've got about 3 Bluetooth thermometers, at varying depths now in the colony, so I have to turn it with my phone. Come on, Bluetooth, sync it up. But it's weird. How you doing?
I'm going.
Hi there.
Yeah, going. So, see you later.
Any other questions?
Eh?
Oh, you two are?
Yeah, because I've got 5.5 hours. So,
I'll be in contact now.
Yeah, probably say thank you to those two staff heading on. Thanks for helping today.
bye.
Switch on Discord.
Yes, we'll do.
Anyone else got any random ant questions that maybe someone in the room has got the answer to?
Could they potentially be splitting off, multiple queens going on new nests?
I don't think so, though semi-possibly, but the heat was just...
Yeah.
It was a cloudy 13 Celsius day, and it hadn't been sunny for at least 12 hours before, which usually when they warm up they'll retain a bit of the heat for roughly 12 hours before they're back to kind of ambient.
Yeah, because there's Formica roof and Formica polycenter, I'm not sure if you know. So they basically hybridized now.
Oh yeah.
So it could be either pure roofer, so that means they've got huge mounds, they just branch off to make a huge
lines and stuff,
or it could just be the polycenter, which just has a few small mounds, which is
double check now, the roofer, Also too, it's was thinking because it'd be a lot better than digging it. Where the ants, the actual mounds of Formica roofer, their whole composting system as well, I should mention in the video. They got 2 methods of warming up the ants, mostly. There's other methods where they're genius. But you got sunbathing and you got decomposition of nest material. And yeah, it would be nice if you could turn up to a colony of formica rufa in the woods, get a nitrogen-rich like solution, like fertilizer water, and just pour it on the nest. And yeah, if you add a load of nitrogen to a load of carbon, and carbon is the main composition of a formica rufa mound is sticks and basically just tar, and trigger rapid compost. And I'm not going to do it myself. I think that's best left to the scientists, because I'll probably end up messing something up, causing a load of ants to suffer for some absolutely terrible data. But I'm not going to do that. And I'll let scientists do it, so they can have blood on their hands. Any other random ant? Don't have to be about formica rufa as well. It can be about anything, any ant question in the world. Start leaving down what if you want. I think that's basically my talk. But I do encourage you to, if you find like a mystery, like chase it. Because ants are like, they're really good at digging rabbit holes. And it's like, you can fall right down them. But like this question, at the time I thought I might have an answer in a few months, and now it's over a year, and I don't think I'm going to get an answer to this question for maybe like 5 years, to be fair, but it's kind of fun. I highly recommend it, and yeah, especially with ants as well, a lot of it's like, I don't know, you ask people what's this, and it's like, not a clue. Especially with the weather changing as well, like climate change, it's gonna jiggle some stuff around, and hopefully it'll get hot, might get.
You said it'd been an unusually hot spring.
Yeah.
Do you think the colony was the right size for the mound, or maybe they've moved into it? So if it was an especially hot year, the temperature from the outside would be sinking into the mound, increasing temperature, and then that could produce a reaction.
I think that might have sped it up, if you get what I mean. So before that, 2 or 3 days before, it was like the nice 25 crazy March temperature.
Yeah, that's
was
serious
March, which I think that might have, like, they weren't designed, if you get what I mean, to have the bacteria like awoken that early.
Yeah, and especially in the spring, they might have like a full workforce to manage the compost behaviour. So you might have to
and it just runaway composting, basically.
It's quite often used in gardening to make the compost, quicker.
Yeah.
So, I wonder.
So I was looking up on compost. It's like, how do you like compost carbon-rich material? And it's like you need your greens with your blacks or something. I don't know. I think it was weird weather though. Hopefully it'll, I don't know, I don't want to say hopefully it'll happen again, because it was like the hottest spring on record, and it's starting to scare me now when it's like every year.
When you chip trees, usually that evening they were steaming. So if they added too much like green material all at once, they don't give them anything.
And in the wild they'll naturally increase the nitrogen content in the mound. As soon as they eat their bugs and like dispose of it, the nitrogen content under the formica rufa mound is a lot higher than its like surrounding area. Which kind of adds a bit more gas to the fire as well. I think that's about it. If anyone I think I'll let you get on with your day, and I hope you enjoyed the chat. Sorry I couldn't give you some amazing like answer how to evacuate formica rufa nest. But yeah.